Welcome to another episode of Coffee Break Conversations. This is a series that takes you behind the scenes of all that goes on here at Coffee Break Languages. Now, in this episode, we're looking at how you can get the most out of our courses, and I'm going to be showing you what's involved in our premium courses. Now, as you may know, I am the learner on Coffee Break Chinese, so it's my job before we record the next lesson to make sure I know exactly what was covered in each previous lesson, and I'm using the premium materials to do just that. Each lesson of the Coffee Break courses in seasons 1 and 2 involves 4 elements, and those are, first of all, the video lesson. Then we provide the audio version of that video lesson. We also provide lesson notes, and finally the bonus audio materials. And I'm going to take you through those 4 elements in this video. Now, I tend to begin with the video. Some people prefer to begin with the audio, but I tend to begin with the video, and that lets me see how the words are written and hear how the words are pronounced at the same time. If you're not so much of a visual learner, perhaps you like to listen first and get an idea of the pronunciation before you even consider how a word is written. In the case of Chinese, Coffee Break Chinese, we're actually seeing both the pinyin and the Chinese characters on screen. So that's quite a challenge to take on first, but I prefer doing it that way. Other people prefer listening to the audio version first, but we provide both so that you can do both and do some consolidation either way.
我从苏格兰来。
Okay, so it's exactly the same phrase, but we're just changing the country, obviously. So let's hear the word for Scotland again.
苏格兰。
Okay, so the second stage is where we are going to listen to the audio version of that same main lesson. We give you both the video and the audio version, so this allows you to focus on the main content of that lesson again. I like to do this when I'm out for a walk. I'm walking along the side of the River Spey in the north of Scotland, and funnily enough, I'm learning to say I am from Scotland in episode 3 of Coffee Break Chinese, which I believe is 我从苏格兰来. The whole idea of this consolidation is to let you think about the words and phrases of the main lesson again. And then the next stage will be to look at the notes and also do that bonus audio as well. This is the third stage in how I like to use the Coffee Break materials, and I'm working on the lesson notes now. I've got them on my tablet. You could print them out, whatever suits you best. But what I think is really important is I'm making my own notes on what I am reading, what I'm understanding about the lesson. And the lesson notes always provide that bit extra information. Obviously you can see the words on the video, but in the lesson notes we give that bit more information, that bit more of an explanation about certain aspects. And of course you can see how the words are spelt. And that also allows you to understand more about the pronunciation of the language, because by this stage, at the very least, I've already heard these words twice, once in the video, once when I've listened to the audio version. And that way I'm seeing how the language works, how the language is how it sounds and how it's written. And of course with Chinese we've got the added excitement, the added benefit of looking at the Chinese characters and my attempts to replicate these Chinese characters. So this is, as I say, the third stage. The final stage, I would say, is where we're going to take the consolidation a little bit further with the bonus audio materials.
我从澳大利亚来，我是澳大利亚人。
This is the final stage of the 4 elements of each Coffee Break lesson, the bonus audio materials. And the bonus audio materials always help you consolidate what you've learned further. And basically we go back over the materials. Sometimes we introduce some bonus vocabulary. Sometimes there are translation tests like what I've been doing here. And sometimes it's more a case of musical review or some relaxation materials and so on. It just depends on the particular course. So over this episode of Coffee Break Conversations, we've seen the 4 different elements of the Coffee Break courses. The main video lesson, the audio lesson, and the lesson notes, and of course this bonus audio. And that goes for all of our Coffee Break courses. This is the way I tend to use them. Of course, you may have a different way. Please let us know in the comments if you have a different method of using our materials. But if you've never used our materials before, I hope that this has been a good introduction to how you could benefit from the Coffee Break premium courses. You can find out everything you need to know about them at coffeebreaklanguages.com. One final thing, I should say that for this episode, during this episode, I've not been at home. I've been staying in a very nice hotel up in the north of Scotland near the village of Keith for a conference that I'm going to tomorrow. So I thought I would take the opportunity to show you a little bit of the north of Scotland during this episode.
And that's where I'll leave it. So thank you for joining me, and we'll be back again soon with more coffee break conversations. Until then, I should say perhaps in Chinese, 谢谢，再见。